To the homeowner, Glasgow City Council proposes to alter the pricing structure for residents' parking permits throughout the city. A new, carbon-based and additional permit pricing strategy has been identified for all existing restricted parking zones and controlled parking zones. This new strategy would see permit pricing based on a vehicle's level of carbon dioxide, CO2 emissions. 0 to 50 grams per kilometre, £80. 51 to 150 grams per kilometre, £180. 151 to 190 grams per kilometre, £265. 191 to 225 grams per kilometre, £280. Greater than 226 grams per kilometre, £300. Should you wish to object to the proposed order, please submit this to Glasgow City Council. With regards, Head of Roads Asset Management, Neighbourhoods Regeneration and Sustainability.
To whom it may concern, executes the Riker manoeuvre. I want to object quite strongly to your nimbly-pimbly so-called strategy that you have identified and are proposing, which will invariably, in layman's terms, fuck up all kinds of shit. However, as I'm in a persnickety mood, I shall articulate, using big-boy words, why this new proposal is completely shit-your-pants stupid. I have also included a picture of myself for your viewing pleasure. When I forwarded your proposal to my lawyer, Mr. Eustace Desoto, big-time real lawyer and King's flatmate, he immediately threw the paper in my face, leapt on my desk, and screamed at the top of his lungs. This usually means that he hasn't had enough time to digest his breakfast. About an hour later, he collapsed into a fatty heap on the floor as he had taken too much insulin. It is worth noting that Mr. Desoto is not a diabetic, but instead likes to raid my insulin stash because low blood sugar simulates the effect of being completely wasted. I would advise taking him seriously despite this. Not only will he fight you in court, but he will, for a slightly larger fee, fight you outside of court with a 6-foot extension lead. For an even larger fee, he will do all of the above but completely shit-faced. Anywho, where was I? Oh, yes. Recovering from his diabetic drug escapades, I asked Mr. Desoto what to do about your scathing proposal. I'm assuming you're quite clever, but allow me to regurgitate what my lawyer has advised me to say in regards to your proposal to charge us for stupid shit. His words, not mine. Mr. Desoto has advised me that since I drive a brown 1973 Plymouth Valiant, which you are no doubt aware is of American design and manufacture. The floor has completely rusted through, and it consumes as much leaded gasoline as my half-uncle at the family reunion. Take note, my half-uncle died of lead poisoning from drinking a drum of gasoline, and I like it that way, dang-gun it. American vehicles don't use the inferior metric system when determining its emissions standards, but rather the sensible and correct way, that is the United States Imperial Supersystem, in which CO2 is measured in Freedom Watt hogsheads per handgun hour. Therefore, it is exempt from UK emissions regulations. Only fools use the metric system. Perchance, furthermore, the vehicle boasts no catalytic converter because, frankly, that is just stupid. Every person knows that catalytic converters are a government plot for mind control. I had it ripped out by Eustace Desoto for an extra $10, or in your weird British currency, £500,000. In addition to being a high-powered and successful lawyer, Mr. Desoto is an amateur mechanic. If you ask me nicely, I'll put you in touch. But don't call him on Wednesdays. He's always in a bad mood on Wednesday and uses this day to assault disgusting hippies in his safe space, local farmers' market. It is worth noting that CO2 is vital for plants, or some other shit I don't know, so the way I see it, if I exceed the speed limit by redlining the car at 10 at night while drinking a whole drum of gasoline, and maybe wreck all sorts of shit on the exhaust by attacking it like an autistic hipster doofus, I can encourage plant growth. Mr. Desoto calls this stupid science and totally within my legal rights and duties. My Plymouth emits an obnoxious amount of carbon dioxide, amongst other fumes, during my morning commute to work, and I'm goddamn proud of it. Back in my day, we didn't have climate change or emission standards. Back in my day, if you wanted climate change, you had to stand near a cornfield for 6 hours and watch the weather change from sunny to rainy. But since the farm died off in the Dust Bowl, I made a living by running a fat farm for obnoxious teenagers who I stuff into apple crates and roll down hills. CO2 has been critical to helping me make homemade cola, which I sell to ungrateful fat kids who then drink my cola and get fat. Then their parents send them to me for re-education. Furthermore, I plan to pump excess CO2 into the sleeping quarters, read shipping container of my fat farm when those ungrateful little shits ultimately fail. I have received much interest about my homemade cola from health officials, so things are progressing well. However, I digress. Should you still wish to persist in your fruitless attempt to charge people for delicious carbon emissions, might I suggest an alternative? Those dickheads who run the World Economic Forum along with their know-it-all investors are a ripe target for charging for something as idiotic as CO2 emissions. Everyone knows that private yachts and jets shit out a lot of your so-called emissions, but I don't see them becoming destitute due to all the goddamn taxes we're forced to pay. I hope you consider this. Regards, Ian Paul Freely. Put signature here, P.S. Mr. Desoto has informed me that I don't live in Glasgow Central, so this letter was a waste of time. Oh well.